How to write good GPT-5 prompts. Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can build amazing prompts in ChatGPT that actually give you the best possible results. So let's not waste any time and jump right into it. Now, GPT-5 is one of the most advanced reasoning models out there. But here's the catch. If you don't know how to use it properly, you're probably going to end up with pretty average answers. That's why optimizing your prompts is so important. A well-structured prompt can take your results from just okay to absolutely game-changing. OpenAI has shared a full guide on how to create effective prompts. But to make things even easier, I've put together my own cheat sheet based on that guide. And in this video, I'll break it down for you step by step. Now, there are different approaches depending on what you're trying to do, whether it's coding, reasoning, research, or just general conversations. But if your main goal is to get the most out of GPT-5's reasoning abilities, there are 6 key elements you always need to include in your prompt. The first is the role. You need to clearly tell GPT-5 what role it should take. For example, ask it to act like a teacher, a researcher, a programmer, or even a debate partner. The more specific you are, the better the output. The second is the task. Be crystal clear about what you want it to do. Whether it's solving a math problem, writing code, analyzing text, or giving you a research summary, don't leave room for the AI to guess. Third, you need to provide context. This is something people often overlook. If you don't explain the situation, GPT-5 won't know how to frame its answer. Adding background details or extra instructions makes your result much more accurate. Fourth, focus on reasoning. Don't just ask for an answer. Ask GPT-5 to explain why it gave that answer. This way you can actually vet the response and make sure the reasoning makes sense, instead of just blindly trusting the output. The fifth key element is constraints. These are the boundaries or rules you want GPT-5 to follow. For example, limiting word count, specifying a tone of voice, or asking it to avoid certain topics. Constraints keep the output aligned with your needs. And finally, the sixth is formatting. Always tell GPT-5 exactly how you want the answer presented. Maybe you want bullet points, step-by-step instructions, or a short summary. By controlling the format, you make the output instantly usable. So when you combine these 6 elements, role, task, context, reasoning, constraints, and formatting, you're giving GPT-5 everything it needs to deliver clear, powerful, and highly accurate results. In the next part of this video, I'll show you a few real examples of optimized prompts so you can see the difference for yourself. Another really important element when building prompts is asking GPT-5 to explain its reasoning before providing the final answer. This step makes a huge difference because it helps reduce the chances of hallucination, which is basically when the model makes up information that sounds right but isn't actually correct. By forcing it to show its work, you get more reliable and verifiable outputs. Next, you'll want to specify the output format. This means being clear about how you want the answer delivered. For example, maybe you want bullet points, a numbered list, or a short summary. By controlling the format, you're ensuring that the answer is presented in a way that's immediately useful to you. And finally, there are stop conditions. Think of stop conditions as the signal for when the task is complete. You define what done looks like. For example, you can say, the task is complete when 3 unique methods are listed, each with a short explanation. This tells the model exactly when to stop, so you don't end up with an endless, unfocused response. Let me give you an example of how all of this comes together in a real prompt. Let's say I want GPT-5 to act as a personal productivity coach and recommend some lesser-known but highly effective learning methods for mastering a new skill. That's my role and task. Now, here are the requirements for this task. The methods must offer unique advantages, they should exclude any common methods, and they need to prioritize accuracy. I also want GPT-5 to highlight what makes each method a strong choice. That part becomes my context. Then I move on to reasoning. I'll instruct GPT-5 to cross-check the details with credible learning or productivity sources and to explain why each method works. This makes sure I get solid, well-supported answers rather than generic advice. Next, I define the output format, in this case maybe a clear list with headings so it's easy to scan. And for the stop condition, I can say the task is complete once it has provided 3 methods that fit all of these requirements. Now when I paste this full prompt into ChatGPT, I also choose which model to use. GPT-5 gives you 2 options: the fast model, which is great for quick answers, and the auto model, which decides for you. Personally, I like to stick with auto because it balances speed and depth. But if I need super detailed and well-reasoned outputs, I'll switch to the thinking model, which takes a little longer but produces much deeper research. So when I ran this example, GPT-5 generated a neat conceptual checklist and gave me 3 medium commitment learning methods. Each one was validated and explained. For instance, the first focused on speed, the second on expert modeling and tactical skills, and the third on durable retention. Not only did it give me the methods, but it also broke down the unique advantage of each one. Exactly the kind of result you want from a well-optimized prompt. So, these are the 3 learning methods it recommended. Each one comes with a summary, weekly time, estimated progress, and the method name with key resources. Now, it also gave me a follow-up suggestion to match each method to different skill categories, but I don't want to do that right now. Instead, I want to show you how you can actually apply this exact framework of role, task, context, and reasoning to all of your own prompts. Whether you're building a report, drafting content, or working on productivity workflows, the same structure applies. Just add each part into your GPT prompt box step by step. Let me walk you through how I set this up. First, define the role. For example, here I want GPT-5 to act as a postgraduate researcher in the field of psychology. Next, add the task. In this case, the task is to find quantitative research variables and topics. Then comes the context. Remember, in the earlier example, we gave context like ensuring each method offered a unique skill advantage. Here, my context could be that the variables I'm asking for should not have been studied together before, and they should not already be extensively researched side by side. That narrows it down to more original, underexplored combinations. After that, we add reasoning. You can almost copy this section from the earlier example, but just adapt it slightly. So I'll ask GPT-5 to prioritize accuracy, internally vet all of the topics, make sure they are real, underused, and that they meet the parameters before responding. I'll also tell it to cross-check details with credible online articles. Now, as for the output format, in my case, I don't need anything very specific. Since I just want to interpret the data myself, I can skip formatting instructions. But if you're using this for content creation or you want to copy-paste directly from GPT into your work, then always add the exact output format you want, like bullet points, tables, or sections. Otherwise, you'll just get the default GPT-style formatting, which is often easy to recognize. Finally, I'll put all of this together into a single clean prompt. That means I've got the role, the task, the context, and the reasoning all written out. I can choose whether I want GPT to think longer for a more detailed response or go for the faster option if I just want quick results. Personally, I prefer the longer reasoning because it gives more reliable answers. So now I'm just going to let GPT-5 think and do its work in the background. I want to show you guys the complete result once it's ready. After a little bit of processing, it has finally finished generating my study examples, and it actually took around 1 minute and 21 seconds to produce everything. Honestly, that's pretty quick considering the depth of reasoning it applied. Now let's go through the results together. The first set of variables it came up with includes social jet lag, interoceptive accuracy, and temporal discounting. This is really fascinating because it links sensory responsiveness with internal body awareness and then ties it to recovery from stress. Not a connection I would have immediately thought of. Next, it suggested a cluster involving algorithmic feed diversity, intellectual humility, and affective polarization. This combination is super relevant in today's digital age, where constant notifications and irregular sleep cycles can really affect our mood and overall mental health. Again, something fresh that sparks new research ideas. And then the last set it provided was nature soundscapes, heart rate variability, and divergent creativity. This one feels very forward-looking, especially with the rise of AI interactions. It's pointing towards how people's attachment tendencies could affect their emotional regulation when interacting with large language models. That's such a modern and unique angle for psychology research. So as you can see, GPT-5 doesn't just throw out generic results. It actually connects concepts in creative but logical ways. Honestly, these are fields of research I wouldn't have come up with instantly on my own, but they're incredibly thought-provoking and relevant. And that's really the power of building well-crafted prompts. When you structure them with the role, task, context, and reasoning in mind, you guide the model to give you far more accurate and useful outcomes. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future tutorials like this. Also, if you feel like one of these videos could help someone you know, maybe a classmate, a friend, or even a colleague, share it with them as well. That's all for today's video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.